85 days, I believe. And it is April 18th, 2026. So let's get started because 2085 days since Richard has been um, forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, taken downstairs to the basement room, the arms room, a soundproof room, where they took his life, and then they desecrated his body. They stole his body and dismembered. We know that for sure. And then evidence further indicates that they harvested his organs, and that we know that they trafficked his body to Mexico. And we are now in the vicious negotiations for the repatriation of our son's remains. And, when this all started, we were dealing with the CID and the FBI that were involved in the eh, in the targeting of Richard to begin with, that were then assigned to Richard's investigation of the murder case. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So these are vicious negotiations, and let's get started. So, a lot has happened over these almost 6 years now that this has started. We have the prime suspect, Ellis Wainhart, Richard's platoon leader, and his network. The network that is cartel and affiliated with the CJNG. Um, and CJNG is considered an FTO, or, operating in the United States, it would still be considered a terroristic organization. And anything aiding and abetting that, um, it's pretty detrimental in the court of law. So, um, we know for a fact that CJNG cartel, the flesh peddlers, the flesh eaters, are operating in El Paso with the narco philanthropists. They're billionaires. These are not, just people living month to month. These are billionaires that can assert their control over the media, which they have, over using foundations as their personal bank, and also over universities like UTEP, like Texas Tech University Health Science Center, um, uh, and others. So media and uh, institutions, also with the military. We know there was mutiny in the military and all of this. And why was this so big? Why was it, that the FBI was compromised, CID was compromised, DPS compromised, 15 plus agencies compromised, and even in the military, a huge swath compromised. And and then why is it, uh, at the same time, why is the worst of the worst happening when Jeffrey Epstein is at Zorro Ranch, right? At Zorro Ranch doing his terrible things. And why did he pick Zorro Ranch? Well, and this goes to what is going on today with the 10 scientists, right? Five who have already been declared deceased, five that are missing, and and President Trump is looking into this, right? He's looking into this. So, what does it mean? There's just so much going on today that I'm going to try to explain this in the best way I know how. We know through the Steve Bannon, Jeffrey Epstein interview, out of Jeffrey Epstein's own mouth, that he bought Santa Fe Institutes, which is a lab, and that he hired Los Alamos scientists to work for him. Okay. We also know that he worked for Rockefeller. He didn't use his own money. He was using other people's money to fund all this. We also know that he was the financier, the financial brain behind Khashoggi in the Iran Contra. We know that he plays all sides um, with the Mossad, with CIA, with um, um, you name it. Uh, he is playing all sides. For him, this is something that is on the next level above all of the um, agencies, the countries. Yes, there's no loyalty there except for to something religious or money or a certain group, as maybe an occult group or something like that. Um, so we saw the interview with Steve Bannon. It was very, very clear that he was um, trying to look for something, trying to invent things, trying to try uh, um, eternal life, right? Eternal life. And that means you have to synthesize things, right? We know that he was doing the Venus Project, the genome, all of that in that Zorro Ranch. We know that Beto O'Rourke's family ranch was right there above Zorro Ranch, and with the Chicago connections with Barack Obama and Oprah, all those connections, and Oprah to the Brazilian baby farmer, trafficker. We know, um, all of these connections because he just got like over 600 years in prison. Um, what were they inventing? Right? They wanted to invent eternal life. They were looking at your body, my body, everyone's body, and wanting to make it be able to live forever. Um, were they using fentanyl, right? Were they using that? Were they using that to experiment on, right? Because we know that Jeffrey Epstein was the financing the MIT lab that was doing a lot of psychedelic or um, synthetic pills, right? Synthetic medication and stuff like that. So, this just seems to overlap so much in what President Trump is looking at, what is going on, that now we have the raid, another raid, right? Another raid, a raid, a raid. We're having lots of raids in this since President Trump came to office. And this raid was on a huge, huge laboratory in Mexico making fentanyl. And it's huge, and so big that they even had a house there for the people that worked there to do that, and to be able to live there and work there at the same time. So and I hope that you check out that article that we put up. And it just got me to think about that there was this big raid in Mexico on a lab, and then you have the scientists missing, and we're connecting dots with Jeffrey Epstein's lab in Santa Fe. And of course, we know that what Jeffrey Epstein was doing was with the Chicago group, right? Um, and just wondering if they were um, involved in any kind of fentanyl production, any fentanyl experimentation, right, on it. to develop a new fentanyl, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But he had a lab. He was trying to digitize, um, eternal life into a financial instrument. And so I don't think it is a reach to say, look, we just had a raid on a fentanyl lab that coincides, the whole fentanyl coincides with really Epstein's life, right? It just coincides with that whole area. And, so it, there's questions. There's a lot of questions on, is this, did he make something that would be so deadly, right? That he would be so deadly. And did he might, you know, I know that there was taking investments for his eternal life that he could monetize. So something that he was trying to develop and then monetize into, or to develop it into a financial instrument so he could monetize it and live forever and be rich forever and never have to face God for all the things that he's done with the child trafficking. Um, so I just wanted to connect the dots to the Santa Fe lab, Los Alamos, MIT, along with these missing Los Alamos scientists, with the fentanyl and the raid today. I think that is really important because that is a huge operation, right? And it's very profitable. I mean, like you spend, I think I was looking it up, and like, $800 on all the stuff that you need, and you can make, oh my gosh, tons and tons of money. So it is really profitable, but it's deadly. You're killing people, and so that's why it's illegal. Uh, I'm just thinking, what did they learn from that? And then you have the cherry on the cake, or another incident that happened today that really stressed that this is all connected, because President Trump never does anything without having it scheduled in such a way that everything is uh, turning together like inside of a beautiful Rolex watch, with the cogs all working beautifully together with the gems and the jewels, and yeah, um, perfect time. Uh, so President Trump held a executive order press conference today with Joe Rogan, many other scientists, right? Um, but with Joe Rogan on psychedelic drugs, right? On psychedelic drugs, bringing them back for like depression or something like this, right? So, here he's um, making an EO on regulating and um, looking into this new drug or this previous drug that now, can be used to treat depression. Um, it's very, very interesting that, you know, who manufactured those psychedelic drugs, and what do they have to do with all of this that's going on with the Santa Fe lab, the missing Los Alamos. These are the premier scientists, right? And they're missing, or they're, yeah, deceased. The timing is just incredible. And I don't think it is a coincidence. because Richard, it will tell you why they would go to such extents to take out Glendon Oakley Jr., to take out Richard Halliday, um, especially Richard Halliday. So, our son. So, this is really uh, the next step, the next step in what President Trump has been doing. Because you see the Strait of Hormuz is being absolutely controlled by President Trump. They can say, "Oh, we're going to close it." Well, it is already closed. You can't say, "Oh, I'm opening it and close it" when it's under blockade. Um, it just doesn't make any sense. So I think um, with oil prices going down, the market already understands what's happening, and um, I think there's real changes. Real changes, what we've been wanting for a long time, right? Promised for a long time and never got, or got worse changes, right? Not something back to the Americana that we love and know, um, that gave us our Second Amendment, our First Amendment rights, Uh, and I think we need to really do something special for this 1776, uh, 2,500 year, no, 1776 celebration today, right? 250 years celebration. Wow. So, it's just really unusual. And it speaks volumes that everything is coming together like this. Because don't forget, 1,500 troops are at the border. You have the anti drone laser um, at the border, approved to be at the border. You have all the raids that each one sheds more light on this trafficking pipeline. And it's all connected to Richard, what he was reporting, and what they did to him, which was an act of war, and the cover up. So, yeah, I just want to thank everyone. So that's really the main point that I wanted to get through today, is connecting those dots. That I don't think that it's a coincidence, and I think it all has to do with Fort Bliss. I think it has to do with the El Paso cartel. And I don't think it is a coincidence that they are into fuel and that you need these precursors to make this drug that is so profitable and so deadly. Um, yeah, I think that is really important to connect Fort Bliss with this. And if President Trump, because he doesn't like to drink alcohol, he doesn't like drugs or whatever, and he said that today, he just keeps on working. That helps too. Instead of taking a drug for depression, that's what he said. He just keeps on working. Um, that is indication. He's stopping a big lab while he's doing an EO to look into the psychedelics. Um, he's giving us a message. And uh, it's all about the border. It's all about Jeffrey Epstein. It's all about the infiltration. It's all about the cartels. And they're colluding and conspiring together against him, of course, against Glennon Oakley Jr., against our son, Richard Halliday. So, he's on our team. And that's why, these are the vicious negotiation for our sons, for the repatriation of our sons' remains. And I think it's all coming together and what's going to happen. So we put in our intent to sue. We'll see what happens, but it's not going to slow us down. We are moving forward with our lawsuits. They're epic, and now is the best time for it. The best time for it. We are absolutely getting green flags to file. So thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. And um, it was a really great day today. I know that it's not as late as what I normally am on, but it was a really great day, and very blessed day today. And just I wish I was a little bit more energetic to share everything. Maybe tomorrow, but everything is coming together. So, and that's because of you. That's because of you. We have, we don't monetize because this is way beyond that. This is way beyond that. And of course, the shadow banning and all that, and the restrictions. If you monetize all the restrictions of what you can say, this is all about the truth. This is all about accountability for our son and to get his remains. Um, and that word is getting out because people are sharing. And that's what's very, very important, is to come to share this information of all the what has been revealed in our 6-year investigation, day in and day out, day in and day out. And it's all really here on this Facebook, and you can find it in other places also. Our day to day investigation and the whole uh, it's the building of all of this information so that we can look at this raid today, the EO with Joe Rogan today, which was amazing. That was just so amazing to watch that. Um, and to see the lab, the missing scientists, the Zorro Ranch, New Mexico, the White Sands Missile Range restricted airspace, that being part of Fort Bliss, uh, right there at the border, the epicenter of everything. And of course, the Mormon faction part of it, the Fort Huachuca part of it, which connects our son's case to the whole Charlie Kirk case, same people, everything. Of course, the Walmart mass shooting, why they would go to such lengths to organize a mass shooting, a bloody one at that, and to stage the crime scene, which we know, and the whole manufacturing of a fake narrative to attack President Trump, to destroy his campaign. That was their intent. It was to destroy President Trump and his campaign, to even the attempts on his life. And then, of course, to go to the extremes of taking our son's life and then uh, hiding his body, right? Hiding his body, which is connected to Vanessa Guillen. Don't think that we have forgotten about Vanessa Guillen and Vanessa Guillen's case, because this is all connected to her death as well. Remember, her mother never felt like there was true accountability, true answers to what happened to her daughter. And so, all of this with Glendon Oakley Jr., all of this is because we have been investigating day in and day out. And so when little things come, we don't see it as something separate. It's just another piece to the puzzle. And the puzzle is becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. And that's why we feel like now is a very, very good time to sue, to bring in our epic lawsuits. So, because that discovery is just going to be amazing, amazing. Um, it will just put all the finishing touches on all of the investigation that we've done. So, thank you so much, everybody. Please share, 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 and I will be back tomorrow.